we'll start with the second video now. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate it. Let's start the second one.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, what I'm gonna do is tell you a little story, right? That, if you can believe it, will take us around the globe, or at least part of it. It doesn't really qualify for the full 360. In fact, it's barely 180. And if you'd like to have a go at a new video every Tuesday and pretty much every Friday, please subscribe. It helps out. But, you know, hey, do what you like. In Cleveland lived the...
Hey, definitely do that. He makes amazing videos. I subscribed to his Patreon, and I sent him a message when I started doing the true crime reaction videos, and I asked him if I could make reaction videos to his cases, and he said yes. He's a completely nice guy, and again, he makes really great videos. So shout out to Michael, really great dude. Appreciate you researching all of these interesting cases and making videos for it. So much love to you, Mike.
The not-so-good Dr. Essa and his not-so-beloved wife, Rosemary. They seemed happy. Don't they always? It's kind of a cliche in like true crime, but it turns out that nobody really knows anything, and if they do, good luck getting it out of them. Because Dr. Yazeed Essa had a few secrets, right? And he'd be damned if he would stick around when those secrets, you know, came to light. Nah. Couple of plane trips, be grand. The old, you know, nah, you can't get me. Until they did. Let's give it a go. This story takes us to Cleveland, Ohio. I don't think I really need to set the scene as I usually do, because I'm sure most of you probably know exactly, you know what I'm talking about. So instead I'm going to talk to you about a road, right? Wilson Mills Road, if you can believe that. It's in Highland Heights City, Cuyahoga County, which is really part of the northeast greater Cleveland area, so don't worry too much about it. Wilson Mills Road bisects Highland Heights, and on it is not much other than houses and trees. It's just really part of the suburbs, and like most suburbs, it's like most suburbs. Copy and paste. The speed limit on this road is 35 miles an hour, but on the 24th of February 2005, a woman named Rosemary Essa, formerly known as Rosemary DiPuccio, was driving a hell of a lot slower than that. Rosemary was on her way to the cinema, to the pictures, right, to catch a flick with her sister Deanna. But she wouldn't make it. She would not make it because Rosie, she was not feeling too great at all.
I promise it's not Visine, because that was a previous video. But with the similarities, you might think it is. Dang, I mean, both videos. I mean, all the cases that we saw previous, and then now that this one that we're just starting to see now, it's obvious that they're all poisoned. You know, this person was poisoned as well, showing sort of the same symptoms. I mean, they haven't dug deep into what this person was feeling, but we can already tell that they weren't feeling well. And because today's theme is kind of like weird ways of being poisoned, we can kind of get a glimpse of what's happening. So, yeah. Moving on.
Rosie was married to a man named Yazeed, Yaz as he went by to his friends, and they lived in a beautiful home in suburban Cleveland. Rosie, a nurse, had met Yazeed while working at a hospital in the city in 1995, later marrying, and having 2 children. Rosie was married to a man named Yazeed, Yaz as he went by to his friends, and they lived in a beautiful home in suburban Cleveland. Rosie, a nurse, had met Yazeed while working at a hospital in the city in 1995, later marrying, in 1999. Rosie was born in October 1966, growing up with 2 brothers and 1 sister. And she would go on to have children herself with her husband. First, their son Armand, then daughter Lena, and the loving family were planning on working on number 3. Rosie was very close with her big Italian family, all was good. She enjoyed her work and was good at it. Debates, she'd be there, and she didn't keep her opinions to herself. Rosie always rooted, for the underdog. And she was someone who cut quite a different figure from her husband, Yazeed. Yaz, the Yazman, Yazdog. Yazeed Essa was born son of Palestinian immigrant parents. Growing up in Detroit, his parents owned a grocery store and his education was the streets. Until the entire family moved to Cleveland so Yazeed could attend medical school. He started by studying anesthesiology before switching to the action, becoming an ER doctor. But I guess that just wasn't enough for him, because in 1996 he started with his brother, they started a pager company, right? They were thinking ahead. They started that in 1996, and then later on in 2001 they started Dish One Up Satellite Incorporated. This again was with his brother Firas. However, Yazeed's business dealings, well, Rosie, she liked to shoot from the hip, she was straight up. Yazeed, not really for him. He wasn't really into the whole, being honest in business. He was like, that's for suckers. He was a straight up liar, is what I'm trying to say. In 1998, him and his brother were indicted for, fraud, for fraudulent business records, and for stealing. Now, his criminal record was expunged, so I don't think he did actually any time for it, but, well, more of that coming. He would also lose his medical license, as he was he's a big fan, he had a thirst. He's a thirsty man, he always was a fan of a few sips. With alcohol. And let me just go back to the satellite business for a second. It was run from an apartment. An apartment that Yaz, he had a secret bedroom in it that he used as his booty hotel. He'd often have women up there getting down and dirty. And this was, of course, while Rosie was at home, none the wiser. Interesting fella. And we haven't even started. In 2005, Yaz was 36 years old. Rosie, 38. And though he was a bit of a tricky dicky when it came to business, he had the big house, the car, the pool, he was the provider. Whatever they needed, they got. And whatever Yaz needed, he got. Or would take. He was a flashy guy, he wanted you to know when he was around, and he was a showman. He'd become an even bigger one than he could ever imagine. So let's steer the ship back to Wilson Mills Road. Rosie was driving down that road in her Volvo SUV. It was only a 10-minute drive from her home to the pictures. But as she drove down, she slowed, and then she began veering all over the place. At one point, her car actually hit another car, but eventually, as it was veering, it slowed and came to a stop. It just so happened that a medical practitioner was driving by. She pulled over and ran to the car to see if the driver, Rosie, was okay. She was obviously having some difficulty. Rosie was limp in the driver's seat and vomiting all over herself, desperately struggling to breathe. First responders arrived soon after on that winter afternoon. She was raced to the ER. The doctors, they tried to do everything they could. Even Yaz, a former doctor himself, was there by her bedside. But after an hour, Rosemary was gone. Her family devastated. Her brother, though, got a call later that night. It was a friend of Rosie's, a friend named Eve, and it turned out that while Rosie was driving that day, Rosie had called this friend from the car, and she had something to say. Over the phone, Rosie said that as she was leaving the house that day, Yaz came up to her and gave her a capsule, what he said was a calcium capsule. She took it, popped in the car, started emptying the tank. But after a few minutes, stomach's at me, nauseous. She started feeling sick, like she was gonna puke her ring up. She called and told all this to Eva, and next thing you know, Rosie was dead. And now Eva was telling this to Rosie's family. Maybe there was something wrong with the pill. Maybe he hadn't given her the right one by accident, but...
Damn. Good thing that she called her friend and told told her kind of what was going on. Fucking sucks that she was driving and all this happened to her. Or to take into consideration that, when she was lucky enough that it happened to her and she was able to, I guess, based off of the video, stop the vehicle. But no, I mean, in normal circumstances, if it were to happen, and if it's like a high traffic area, it could be a high chance that it could have potentially caused an accident to someone else. It could have been a bigger problem than what it already was. So yeah, I guess like the only good thing is, yeah, maybe no one else was hurt, but given the circumstances, it sucks that this person had to go through this. Dan Harbor, thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I'm not live on YouTube, so you can't hear me, but I appreciate that. Yeah. That's weird. I mean, it's not weird. It's just like, it's just disturbing, the lengths that people go to harm other people. It's crazy. Let's find out what this capsule was.
That's something you might want to take a look at. And the main thing Eva had said was, please get some kind of toxicology report. And I mean, Rosie's family were dumbfounded. They loved Yaz, couldn't imagine he would intentionally hurt his wife, and if unintentionally, he would be devastated. He already was devastated, to be fair. So devastated, he remained distant from the DiPuccios.
And I just think we got a beautiful future together.
Didn't want to talk to them. And he'd already began letting people know that Rosie was dead. Now, obviously, he was in a bit of a mood. You know yourself. So he didn't really want to write an essay. Here I'm just clackety. Here, listen. This is the crack. Just wanted to let you know that Rosie died yesterday in a minor car accident. She will be missed. Lol. Okay, he didn't write that. And then he hit send all. Righto, well, another job well done. Moving on. They needed to determine how she died. After all, something had killed her and no one knew what. Not the cops, the doctors, whatever. So the coroner did his job. However, cause of death, after he had a look-see, was still unknown. And the toxicology report would take some time. And there was an investigation that needed to be done to make sure, that, well, to find out what it was. Listen up. So worried about that calcium tablet that Yaz had given Rosie, it eventually reached the cops, and they were like, well, we should probably just ask, what that was. Because, she takes a pill, she feels sick, she dies. So they thought they would ask him about that, Tell me this, what was that?
She wanted to go see a movie with her sister. She's running a little late, and she left around 1. It was fine. But everything was normal. And the next thing I know, I get a call from you guys, so somebody saying that she was in a car accident, and obviously we thought a little bit.
Is she taking any over-the-counter meds or vitamins or supplements?
She was taking a vitamin occasionally, and I've been told Rosie she should probably start taking calcium supplements. And then right before she left, she took the calcium. That's what she take it. Just calcium. I can't see how that would relate with anything.
When did she start taking the vitamins?
Prenatal vitamins? Are they thinking, any of this had to do with anything?
Thank you.
I mean, at this point, they have somebody who's 38 years old.
Oh, I know.
Suddenly she...
Thank you totally, Dan, for that Prime subscription. I really appreciate it.
I got big dreams, suitable for a king.
Yeah, what's up, Nate? Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Just really quickly to catch you up on what we're doing. We are on our second case. So far, it's wife and husband